super pumped to dig into acquisition offers. Last session, we touched on the ROI formula. So we're going through a phase right now where I want to coach you guys up on how to start and then directly and forecast your profitability before we ever run an ad. And then in reality, if we have an offer, or I'm sorry, if we have a client, or if we're in-house, we can consult through the offer creation before we're ever running the ads. And so we're picking up directly from the ad ROI session now directly into how to build acquisition offers for paid traffic. So I know that we all probably get pressured a lot to launch the next funnel, the next offer, the next thing. And if we're picking up directly from the ad ROI formula and then moving directly into the offers that are the most profitable for paid traffic based on the current state of, paid social, we either A, will probably eliminate ever running a funnel or an offer and preventing the loss of that ad spend. B, we might not lose a client because, we didn't launch that offer or that funnel that could have been destined to fail from the beginning anyways. And, or it gives us an opportunity to then create the offer that we need to create in order to basically hit the desired result. So that will sort of set the scene for today, is acquisition strategy. So if you don't have the ads SOP winning ad formula yet, follow up with me afterwards. This is directly on that. So what I really want us to focus on and sort of setting the scene for acquisition strategy is, so as you guys know, I don't talk a whole lot about remarketing or back end. The reason that I don't talk a lot about remarketing or back end is that remarketing and back end, in my view, is hella easy if you get the acquisition part right. There's so many ways to remarket to get people, to either rebuy or into the next product, etc. But where most of us struggle is either in two categories: 1-day ROAS and how we look at that, or a 30-day sort of longer attribution window, which becomes sort of this cash flow, constraint typically within the business due to, marketing and paid traffic. So what I really want us to start thinking about is do your ads even have a chance to either work or be successful in the first place? So picking up again from ad ROI formula, there's we actually had a call yesterday with a client, pretty big brand. Not that part doesn't really matter, but we run traffic for one of their brands. They want us to run traffic for 2 more of their brands, and just straight up, right? Like their AOV on their best-selling products is $62 and $66. So I'm going into the meeting like, yo, we're fucked on this. Like just straight up, we're fucked on this. This is mostly a one-time purchase. So going into the meeting, I run my numbers, I do my calculations, and I'm like, you need to have a 5% conversion rate to hit the $25 cost per acquisition that you're looking for. Do you think that that is reasonable? And then I shut up, right? Because at the end of the day, if you're set up in that situation, again, in-house or out of house, that situation is set up to fail. Let's say that I start running the ads based on this $62, $66 AOV that I'm presented with. 30 days from now, either brand is coming back to us and they're saying, hey, this isn't working. And I'm like, hey, what's not working about it? This was never going to work. So it was my responsibility on the front end to either say, hey, this was never going to work, and then adjust the strategy, or B, get them to adjust their expectations in order for their definition of it to work. So that's what I want to go through today, is how do we fast track our success into our ads? A lot of times we don't necessarily have an ads problem. We most often have a funnel problem. and a messaging or offer problem. So today we're going to go through the 6 offers that are the most profitable, AKA the best chance of success, so that if you're in-house or out of house, the brand founder or the client is not like, well, this isn't working. Instead, they're like, oh, wow, this is working great, right? And there's plenty of instances, and some of us probably even run some accounts. Like I know Paul, for example, also runs some solar lead gen. Well, that falls into this category of lead generation, high ticket, $1,000 plus. Paul, how long have you worked on that account? Like 2 years, right?
Yeah.
2 years. Client's happy. Sure, there are instances where client might not be happy, where brand might not be happy, cost per lead might fluctuate, but that offer had a chance for success from the beginning because the purchase price, I'm going to make this up, and Paul can correct me, the purchase price is anywhere from a couple grand to $10,000, $20,000. Paul runs solar lead gen, this one account, solar lead gen, right? So like when someone buys a package, a solar package, the AOV is so high that they're willing to rip through $20, $50, $100 leads, no problem, right? So what we're going to touch on is the 6 offers that have the best chance for success and that are the most profitable, so that we can avoid the ones that are not and never just run traffic on them in the first place. Or we can build an acquisition offer that gets us to be more like Paul and less like not like Paul, for example, in that situation. So I've got a bunch of examples for you guys as well. Obviously would love your thoughts, love your questions, love your comments, love your input. Just like always, as we do these as more of a workshopping environment versus like a talking head, because you all know that I can like talk about this stuff for hours. So number 1, right out of the gate, just going to focus more on lead gen, and then we'll get into e-com. So lead generation, high ticket service-based businesses, kind of, for example, the example that Ben just shared with us, high ticket program, lead gen into high ticket program. Ben doesn't experience as much stress as what Joe might on a day-to-day basis when he's running his ads, right? Like Ben still has stress, but like those ads work, but is it the ads or is it how Ben set up the offer? I'd actually say it's how Ben set up the offer. Nothing against Joe, obviously. Love Joe. I just know some of his offers really well. So some examples of this would be law firm lead gen. Ben runs law firm lead gen. Auto insurance lead gen, SEO agencies, marketing agencies. A couple of the examples that I have for you here is Design Pickle and Marketer Hire. When you sign up with Design Pickle, they have packages ranging anywhere from, say, like $500 a month to $1,700 a month. So even if you cancel after 30 days of trying Design Pickle, which is a design service, that AOV is so high that a $50 lead, $100 lead, maybe even a $500 lead is something that they're willing to pay for, that they're actually profitable on, even at a 1 to 3x return on ad spend with a $500 lead, and that lead buys a $1,700 package. They're 3 to 1 return on ad spend just basically month 1, almost day 1, right? Marketer Hire, this is a little bit more of like a recruiting service where I don't know if any of you guys have ever been a part of Marketer Hire or not. Some of you guys know that I used to run ads for Maple for a very long time, basically a competitor for Marketer Hire. A same thing, AOV super high, anywhere in the 30-day one-time purchase of, $1,500 to $5,000 or more, right? So when those ads are running to basically a call funnel in both of these situations, these offers can be very profitable. And I'm going to purposely not look at the recurring portion of this just yet, because even if these customers cancel after 30 days, right, which happens a lot in these instances, these offers can still be profitable in a 1-day or 30-day look back with regards to just the pure financial side of the business, which a lot of times, gets put onto us as well as marketers from the CFO, from the brand owner, et cetera, who's ever controlling the finances. And so what I the lens that I want us to start looking at this too, and some of you guys might already do this, is looking at this a little bit from a CFO sort of perspective, looking at this as like a CPA or a controller within the business. Like, how can I get this traffic to be the most profitable, and looking at offers through a lens of profitability, because that's ultimately how marketing is going to be judged, especially nowadays. Like there's so much pressure for the marketing to be profitable so fast, because there's so many businesses getting into online and e-com that maybe don't come from traditional business backgrounds, and they don't know what it means to spend 40% of their total revenue on marketing, right? Like the days of 8 to 10% of investment into marketing are freaking long gone, like long gone, never coming back. And so lead generation, high ticket, these are a couple of examples of lead generation, high ticket. So the second most profitable would be high ticket info products and coaching programs. So a little bit different from a service-based business, but Sonora Guitar, I've shared some of this with you guys. Like this has been a client of ours for more than a year. These guys are absolutely crushing it. I think they have like, at one point they had 6 setters and 6 closers when we started with the business. Just the owner was taking all the calls. Tens of thousands of leads, not to brag per se, but like this offer was set up for success from the beginning, right? So that's actually example C here. So skill development program. So it doesn't matter if it's a photography program and a painting program, a marketing program, a sales training program, whatever it is, like all of these funnels all 3 of these funnels are triggered in different ways. And I'll give you examples. Some of us are pretty familiar with Cole Gordon. Like they freaking crush, right? Like these guys are doing like 3 million a month or more in sales. It's absolutely absurd. Kudos to them. Their ads run directly to a VSL, a 5-minute VSL, which then goes to a call, right? That VSL is put in place in order to basically pre-qualify, disqualify, gain curiosity, gain hope, set up the call. In the Sonora Guitar Intensive scenario, we run all of our ads to a free training. That free training then goes into an application funnel. That application funnel then also goes to a booked call. Ben, I think you're doing something kind of similar. Yeah. Then digital marketer, I just started seeing this offer recently within the last couple of weeks, so I wanted to share this one as well. Digital marketer is actually selling basically like director of marketing or CMO training program directly through ads that they sell for, I believe the price point is $29.95, or you can upgrade into like the $5K to $6K VIP experience. But again, you know, right? Like info product, coaching program, high ticket, more than $1,000. Doesn't matter if it's sales training, marketing skill development, you know, music skill development, personal development, leadership training, whatever it is. Like these offers have such a high price point that they can be profitable on the front end. And it also means that less stress, less pressure, less pain on us as marketers, right? Like that's what we want, is like, we don't want the stress and the pain of having to over micro analyze our ads day to day. Again, doesn't matter if we're in-house, out of house. Like we also have to know as ad buyers, what offers are actually going to get me maybe the recognition that I'm looking for, maybe the sanity that I'm looking for, maybe the appreciation that I'm looking for, right? And it's, you know, number 2, best, most profitable offer, high ticket, even if it is sort of a one-off purchase. You know, some of these programs are one-time programs where they're 30, 60, 90 day, you know, type programs. Number 3, so high AOV e-com, again, any industry, high-end fashion, personal care products, home goods and furniture, fitness products, etc. These are 2 more brands that we've run traffic for a very long time. Chef V, we've probably done like, I 3.5 million in profit in the last probably like 20 months, I would say. Hugh Hearing, we've probably done about 4 to 4.5 million in profit in the last 4 to 5 months. This is my big spender at the moment. Again, just straight up AOV on this one, 125. AOV on this one, 220. Right. So like these, and I've got a bunch of other ones. Nude, you guys have seen the ads for Nude. AOV is on that is like 198 or 190. I don't remember. So those products, those offers have a chance for success. I don't feel very much heat from any of those three guys. They're my best ones. They leave me alone, right? I get to do what I know how to do best. The team gets to do what they know how to do best. We optimize it, we scale it. You know, we work through our day-to-day process, which a lot of, you know, is what you guys are learning here with us. You know, it could be things like I was also, what was I just looking at? Some other research. If any of you guys see the ads for like Olukai, which is like kind of a higher end shoe. It's kind of like a lifestyle fashion shoe, like sneaker kind of deal. I was just looking at some ads, you know, from them before our call today. You know, that has like $190 price point. That's the kind of product that I'm referring to with regards to running ads directly to that. I would say my opinion often changes with regards to bundles, because if we're trying to mask the AOV within a bundle that might have a bunch of things that I don't necessarily need, then like we're kind of trying to force all these products onto someone in order to get our price point to be profitable. Depending on the day, depending on the industry, depending on, you know, the niche, my opinion on that would probably change. Like if it was a bundle that made sense versus a bundle that doesn't make sense. And by make sense, is it like we're just trying to pack a bunch of other products into the bundle just so that we can get to Will's $100 AOV that he asked for, so that, you know, we can convert our paid traffic profitably. I think there's a difference there versus like these products inherently have a premium, you know, premium price point, premium value, premium quality, for example. So again, any industry, high-end fashion, personal care products, home goods and furniture, fitness products, health and wellness products, I'd kind of lump this juice cleanse under that. So that would be most profitable offer number 3, high AOV, $100 plus, any industry. Any questions from anybody so far? Any thoughts, comments, anything that anybody would want to add? Also, hopefully nobody's in the waiting room. I should probably check that. If you want to add anything to the chat while we're going through this as well, feel free and I'll share it with the group. Oh shoot, I messed up my number system earlier when I was editing this. So offer number 4, trials into high ticket, any industry again. So I don't know about you guys, but I've seen Frank Kern run this 4 courses for $4 offer for probably like 2 or 3 years, right? And like on the front end, you're like, how the hell is he doing that? $4? Like there's no way those ads are profitable, right? In Ads Manager, unless there's a high ticket upsell, high ticket coaching program. Maybe you get 3 courses then for $497, or maybe you get his offer, you know, acquisition matrix formula, whatever the hell he's pushing. Now he's pushing like how to crush email, right? So maybe the secondary offer within the funnel, I haven't actually hacked this funnel or deconstructed it personally, but I know that there's something on the back end of this $4 acquisition offer, which is basically a tripwire offer, right? Like Digital Marketer absolutely put that on complete display, you know, over the last 10 to 15 years with their $1 to $7 tripwire offers that then get you into their, I don't even know how much it is nowadays. I think Digital Marketer Lab or HQ was like, I don't know, $97 at one point, could have been $197. I'm not really sure. But the reason that you'd run the $1 or $7 tripwire offer is that we have a plan for step 2, right? And so again, doesn't matter if this is info product, if it's e-com, if it's lead, you know, physical e-com, like physical product, CPG style product, or if it's lead gen, right? Like that funnel has to be built for paid traffic. That acquisition offer has to be built for paid traffic. If Frank Kern was trying to make money on this $4 offer, how stupid would that look? Like if his expectation was like, yo, I need a $1 CPA, and he came to Cam, and Frank Kern's like, yo, Cam, I need $1 CPA on this. And you're like, Frank Kern, yes, I get to work with Frank Kern. I can't wait, right? And then in the back of your head, you're like, no fucking chance am I getting $1 CPA on this shit, right? So like that funnel and that offer has to be built for paid traffic so that Cam's like not sweating bullets on Friday nights at midnight trying to freaking hack his way to a 10% click-through rate, right? Like, because that's just not going to happen. Then he's like, oh, maybe I should run, Cam doesn't do this. Maybe I should run traffic campaigns to this shit because that's what Facebook tells me to do. So now I'm going to go run traffic campaigns to this so I can build middle of funnel. And then I'm going to remarket to them through middle of funnel because I'm going to drop my front end traffic cost. And then I'm just going to run like video ads, middle of funnel. And then maybe I'll get $1 CPA. No chance, right? Like that's basically like my example that I was referring to you guys from yesterday, where they're trying to get this I'll kind of close that gap. The two offers that I was referring to earlier, one of them is a supplement that their biggest competitor is Nugenix and Force Factor and Onnit, right? Onnit's got Joe Rogan, no fucking chance, right? The second one is health and wellness sort of weight loss product. So $40 CPMs, right? So Ben's seeing $40 CPMs on his marketing, basically lead gen, business, B2B, biz opportunity lead gen, right? With high AOV. My guy's got a $62 AOV. If we remember back to our ROI formula last week, like, yo, no chance, right? No chance. And I tested them a little bit to see if they would be willing to do forced continuity and like all these things. And they're like, oh, the CEO would kill me. So anyways, it's just a good example of like, how do we navigate those situations? How do we navigate when we're presented with an offer that somebody wants to run paid traffic on and we're like, dude, no way, like no way. But do we do it anyways? I've done it anyways. I'm sure that some of you guys have done it. David's mentioned forced continuity. Forced continuity would be something like a $7 trial that auto renews at $47, $97, $197. In the States, I know that you're out of the US. An example, I mentioned that Nugenix example. If anybody knows like Nugenix, it's like a male testosterone supplement. I don't take it. They use a lot of MLB baseball players and, you know, ex-NFL players like in their actual TV commercials. Frank Thomas, Bo Jackson. Bo Jackson's like the guy's guy of all guys. He's pretty much on everything. And what is the saying? Paul, you might know this. Something about gotta be like Bo or something like Bo.
Bo knows.
Bo knows. Yeah, Bo knows. So that TV commercial literally runs for the offer of free complimentary bottle, and it has for years, right? Text, what they use so many funky like short codes where it's like text, man, I'm trying to think of something on the spot where they'll do something funny like get ripped, you know, text get ripped to 1 2 3 4 5, you know, whatever. So that forced continuity would then auto renew, right? Like after 30 days. So you probably go through the funnel, you get your free complimentary bottle. You can cancel before 30 days if you want to. But at the end of the day, that front end is not profitable on the complimentary bottle, right? That funnel, that offer is only profitable like maybe when month 2 kicks in. I don't know how much that product sells for. Maybe it's $60. So maybe the product costs them like $5 to produce. So now they're $10 in on hard costs. So bottle 1, bottle 2, $10, 60 days. Who knows how much the media spend cost? But then maybe after 60 days or after 90 days, that offer is profitable. And however, they might be willing to run that offer that way because they've got $1 million bankroll that they can rely on from a cash flow management perspective, right? So those offers work only if we have the cash to fund it and to wait for that cash to turn over. I have run some stuff like that. Bear with me one sec. Another example of that though is like our, I won't touch on sort of like the subscription one that's coming up next. So Frank Kern, for example, is like, Frank Kern, for example, is like, tripwire offer into high ticket acquisition. Same thing with digitalmarketer.com when they do their $1 and $7, programs, and then it goes into a variety of other upsells. A couple of other ones that I pulled for you guys. This one in the middle is actually an artist sort of painting program. It is a $47 offer that upsells into a high ticket multiple programs or coaching program. There's also another one out there that my girlfriend subscribes to called KJ Photography, where she literally advertises masterclasses like how to use Lightroom in order to get that perfect wedding look, right? Like that's the masterclass. And then it auto renews into, she sells a $20,000 coaching program. She has a $97 a month subscription. You can buy the ultimate, advanced wedding photography course for $19.97, right? So that, in this case, $47 masterclass then, goes into this either high ticket offer or something. These ads are probably 1-to-1 or break even from a ROAS perspective when you look at the actual ads versus the day one profitability. That's typically how most of these offers run. Alaric Keck is one that I look at all the time. He's absolutely crushing it with his YouTube ads masterclass stuff. And then we've got the Frank Kern example. Just going to check in the chat. Ben mentioned, I think I saw HubSpot waits like 2 years to break even on acquisition. That's completely absurd. But I mean, I don't know this 100%. Maybe a publicly traded company. I'm not 100% sure. Somebody might know. I don't know if they're publicly traded or if HubSpot is still a private company, but they've probably taken on investment, right? In order to allow for that to happen. So that's e-com trial to high ticket offers. The next one that we'll touch on is trials into subscriptions. So we've either got a subscribe and save angle or we've got sort of a free trial angle. We run traffic on Truly Free, have for almost about 2 years now. This is a subscribe and save angle where the front end AOV is around $50 to $55. The actual subscribe and save offer that we use is save 71%. And we've used that for almost 2 years. Then it goes into an auto renew. So after 30 days, then they can customize their bundle basically. Truly Free is basically like an all natural, non-toxic home product collection, right? So there's like degreasers and all natural laundry detergent and hand soap and all of these things. Alpha Brain, for example, runs a subscribe and save 10% or on it. We develop ads for Alpha Brain, but we run the buy three. We create ads rather for the buy three, get two free offer. So Alpha Brain does a, I believe it's either 10 or subscribe and save 10 or 15%. And the price point is $69.97, I believe. So it's even like right at that cusp of like that $75 AOV that we're all looking for. Those ads are probably a 1-to-1 return on ad spend, probably a $40 CPM, even if they're getting a 2% click-through rate, maybe with a 3% conversion rate, they're probably in that 1 to 1.5 ROAS range. Content delivery would be the other one. Jasper.ai, how they run this is they do like a free trial. So I think I was just looking at it earlier. I think it's something like get 10,000 words free. Jasper is like an AI copywriting service. So that would then go into, you know, an auto renewal. So they're using that get 10,000 words free as the offer on the front end to acquire customers. And then it monetizes, you know, day 31, day 61, you know, whatever. So trials into subscriptions, super profitable. Especially Aaron mentioned he sees Jasper on Facebook all the time. Not saying their method doesn't work, but they get hammered by people in their comments. That's funny. Fun read if they get bored. They probably need to turn on their page moderation tool, by the way. So within their page settings. So good examples here as well, where, you know, depending on how savvy you are with financial forecasting and things, you can actually look at these subscribe and save models and pull cohort analysis of when they will be profitable. Stuff like this tends to be in that like 90-day range. Definitely a blanket statement. But, you know, at that point, these offers are becoming super profitable because after 90 days, you know, it's just all profit minus the cost of goods, right? And something like a truly free offer, which costs a couple bucks, is 90+% profit after 90 days, right? As long as that customer is staying. That's when the retention team takes over, right? Retention team takes over to either focus on additional monetization, customer ascension, loyalty programs, things of that nature in order to, you know, further monetize, you know, this offer. So two different ones. So you got more of a B2B lead gen style, and then we've got more of a physical product style with like the truly free example. Sweet. So here's another sort of look at that as well is, you guys know I'm buddies with Max Finn. They just launched a Talk Trends trial where it's a $7 trial. Then you've got like CXL, which CXL does a 7-day trial for $1, right? So these ads are not profitable, you know, on day one when they're analyzing Ads Manager. They're probably managing the ads based on a target cost per customer. Let's just say it's $50. So if it costs them $50 to get this trial, step two, they know that this 7-day trial stays for 90 days. They have a variety of different price points. Let's just say that it's $100. So after 60 days, this offer is 2-to-1 return on ad spend, right? So if it costs them $50 to acquire that $7 trial, the average customer stays 60 days. The average customer is spending $100. You know, they're now 2-to-1, you know, return on ad spend in a 60-day window versus a 1-day window. So another way of looking at it with regards to trial into subscription. The thing with all of these offers is that you must have the next thing ready to sell and fast, right? So whether that is directly within the funnel itself, like we talked about, where, you know, Frank Kern is 4 courses for $4 and then going to make this offer up 5 courses for $500, right? Maybe it's his best courses for $500. That offer is profitable day one, most likely in that scenario. In the other scenario, it's, for example, using the, which one did we use? Let's use the Sonora example, right? So free training into high ticket, right? So free training that costs me $10 to acquire that lead, but on the sales call, the CAC for that customer might be $300, $500, whatever it is, but the program sells anywhere from $2,500 to $3,500, right? So I'm 5 to 7x or whatever that number is, return from that funnel, right? From that offer, going from free training into high ticket call funnel. So we have to be ready to sell the next offer fast, whether that's, you know, again, within the current purchase funnel, or whether that is within a short time frame, like 3 days, 7 days, 30 days, in order for that to essentially make sense. And then what we're going to have a look at next is basically what not to do. So I literally pulled these ads on ads that I see running where like their landing pages are pushing products in the $18 to $60 range, one-time purchase. So one-time purchase products of AOV $75 and less if we think back to when we did the ad ROI formula, pretty much no chance of profitability, you know, from running a product like this through ads. I would say right now, the biggest not the biggest companies, the companies whose advertising strategies or Facebook ads or paid social ads or Google ads that are being exposed the most are in this low AOV one-time purchase category, which is where a lot of the market lives, right? A lot of the market lives in this one-time purchase AOV under $100, because a lot of people are like, yo, I can make money online. Like, let me just sell this one product, because all these Amazon, you know, guys are like, yo, just find that one product and go launch a funnel and run some ads like Russell Brunson told me to, right? And then like it never works. But, you know, so these are just a couple of different examples. So, you know, this one on the right is like a skincare, personal care type product where they sell these like tea tree hydration masks, right? So the landing page literally has price points on it of anywhere from $18 to $60. And they are literally hoping that the customer rebuys, right? Hoping that the customer rebuys is not a strategy. Nurturing people through email, hoping that they rebuy is not a great strategy, right? That is the definition of insanity, of constant burning cash, trying to get email, you know, repeat purchase rates high enough so that the business model makes sense. So the whole argument here that I'm sharing with you guys is, let's fix the business model before we ever even start, right? So we know the actual financial possibilities behind our paid traffic before we start. Now we know which offers have the best chance for success and the most profitability before we start. And so when we go to approach our acquisition strategy now, if we use the ad ROI formula and we use this framework for offers that are built for paid traffic, next we can focus on actually building the specific paid offer for paid traffic so that we just don't feel the pain, right? So that we just don't feel the pain that a lot of us have felt, that I for sure have felt, that I've spent millions of dollars like figuring out. That took me a really long time to just finally be like, I'm not going to do this anymore. Like, especially if you look at the last 12 to 24 months, like not only is cost of advertising obviously getting more expensive, but like the impact of iOS is still a thing. It's not affecting the business models that, you know, like Paul or Ben, for example, who's running high ticket solar lead gen, or Ben who's running like high ticket coaching program. Like they still feel the effects, and maybe it wasn't as profitable as it was 12 months ago, but Ben can just increase the price from 5K to 6K and he's good, right? Like not that hard. Made up example. I don't know how much the offer is, but like it's easier to fix it on the back end than it is to try to overly optimize the cost on the front end side with ads. So just want to jump. David said you're just one funnel away. Yeah, we've all heard that, you know, a lot of times. Ben also threw in there, would just echo what you said about sanity for high ticket stuff. Way fewer ads, way easier to pivot, way more control, understand what's happening in the account. Yeah, absolutely. Like my high ticket stuff, those are the easiest ones to run. Like the easiest ones to run. The hardest ones to run are when you have to micromanage the ads, literally in like even half day segments, right? When that client hits you up and they're like, oh my God, my ads are not profitable today. And you're like, dude, I'm not day trading. Like, I'm not literally going to sit here and watch the ad account, which doesn't have accurate reporting anyways, like in 6-hour windows. Like, just doesn't make sense. That is an offer problem, not necessarily an ads problem, right? So that was the wrong offer to run ads through. So that's what I had for you guys today. These three, you know, focus points would really be where I would suggest digging in deeper to fast track success. Go back and look at those 6 offers that are the most profitable, you know, that have the best chance of success, and do less of this, right? Do less of this one-time purchase, you know, AOV is less than $100. a lot of my guys in this space have really gotten squeezed out in the last 12 months. Like, and those are personal clients as well. Like, we've either had to part ways, get them to adjust. Some of them just simply don't have an answer for it. You know, like we used to run like this sort of like tech company brand product thing. And, you know, AOV was like $55. Once iOS like happened, we struggled, man. Like, we struggled to get any of that advertising to make sense. But in reality, like, that price point was being phased out of paid traffic, Google and Facebook, TikTok, whatever. Like, it wasn't necessarily an ads problem. It's that the marketing was exposing the product. So I'm happy to stick around. If anybody has any questions, like, always happy to stick around if anybody has any questions. We're actually doing pretty good on time. So if anybody has a question or wants to throw anything in the chat, or if anybody even has a thought that they want to add, you know, feel free to, you know, unmute, jump in, and we can round out our session today.
I had a question real fast, and you can stay on this slide because actually it's relevant to this one.
That's good.
Biggest pain points for sure. If you're seeing that a lot of brands that are selling products within like this range and kind of like model where they don't really have a proven retention pipeline to keep on making over and over again, just hoping that they just buy the next month or whatever.
Yeah.
What is the strategy there? Is it, are you seeing that you should be coaching them on developing a new framework to sell more product? Or
Yes.
is it really just like, hey guys, we're going to be top line heavy where we're not making a lot right now, and we just got to figure out our lifetime value over time and then benchmark that, and hopefully we hit that? I'm just trying to figure out what you see work better.
Yeah, great question. That's where I do the ad ROI formula exercise with them so that they see it for themselves, where it's not like you against them, right? So it's like, oh, wow, I actually can't beat the data. Can't argue with the numbers, right?
Right.
And so that would be step one. Step two would then be, yeah, I do think that, you know, it's definitely on us as well to be able to guide them, you know, and some businesses just simply will not be willing to innovate, right? Like, they're going to be like, my product is my product, and like, I'm 100% in on that. And then at that point, you might have to say, well, there's really two paths, Mr. Client. This is going to be painful as fuck, and you better go get a good email team, or like, see ya. Like that's literally like the two options, unless they evolve into something like this, right? So like the Truly Free example is a great example, not because I run the traffic on it, but because it's a low AOV, $55, right? But the auto renew is what we're going for, right? So they need some element within the business model itself of recurring purchase, right?
Yeah.
Recurring purchase or fast secondary purchase is gotta be what we have in order to make so that they feel like the ads make sense, right? So they're like, I'm spending 10K, 20K, 30K, 100K a month on ads. This doesn't make sense to me, right? One really good example of that is we had a client that had a DIY sort of like crafting product. It was like a resin. Resin was super hot during COVID because people are at home doing projects, this and that. We were crushing it, right? Like, we were getting 4x return on ad spend, no problem. Then when the economics of like shipping delays and increased costs that a lot of us have seen in the economy, like, their cost of goods went up like almost 100%. Right. So they couldn't necessarily increase the retail price point to keep up with the new cost now that they had. So the AOV on that was anywhere from like 80 to 100, even 120. But their strategy was, I hope the customer rebuys. The product almost lasted too long before the customer would then buy again. Right. Straight up, long story short, I wrote a post about this a few months ago. That company is now out of business. Great people, right? But they're like, this doesn't make sense to us. Like, and fortunately they realized, like, this isn't an ads problem. Like, we can't get our ads to work for us to the point in which that it will ever make sense.
Right.
So unless, you know, one thing they could have done is like an auto renew of every 30 days, you get more resin. I don't know if anybody's going to buy that, but like that would be an example of how do I fix that? Like, okay, I'm willing to maybe like break even or lose $20 to sell the first bottle, but then next month it's 80% profit because it's on auto renew. So that's how I would look at that, Cam, is look at like this truly free type of model. You know, look at CXL, you know, it's, even though it's an info product, it's kind of the same thing. Trial, subscribe and save into, you know, where businesses thrive is in MRR, right? Recurring revenue. Like that's, so if they don't have that as a part of their model, yeah, dude, it's going to be hard for us as marketers and as agencies, ad buyers, etc. And then we're going to be like, oh, you guys suck at marketing. The marketing doesn't work. And you're like, dude, your fucking product sucks. Right.
Do you have, and I know you probably have this in another one that you're going to chat about, but yeah, in terms of lifetime value metrics, do you use something specifically for that to gauge that? Do you have a tool, or is that all built in like HiROS that you use for a lot of stuff?
You can do it in a variety of ways. Like for you guys who are using Klaviyo, so anybody that's doing e-com, Klaviyo will give you LTV data. So you don't necessarily need like a third-party tool. There are other tools out there. There used to be one that I was looking at for a little while, but I can't remember the name of it. It might have been called AdScale or something like that, but I could be completely off with that. Yes, HiROS does give you LTV data as well. Charles has actually chimed in a little bit about this also. Charles is like our resident CFO within our group. He used to be a CFO both in like corporate America and then like within like the e-com space. Basically how he's described it, from, these are now his words, and I'm summarizing loosely, is you know, you basically take the total amount of purchases, so let's just say $50 AOV times 3, you know, minus gross or hard cost, you know, so cost of product, you know, and at that point you're looking at gross margin, not including sort of like any paid traffic costs and things like that. So let's just say that, you know, frequency of purchase is 3, you know, so 3 at $50 is 150. You know, you might be willing to acquire a customer for $75 if each of those products only cost you $5, but you sell it for 50. You know, 75 plus 15 is 90. So your net profit is $60 on that sale if they stay for 90 days. What is like actual ROAS on that is what? I don't know, 1.2, 1.3. I'm not exactly sure on the math. Just kind of doing it top of mind. But probably somewhere in that neighborhood.
Yeah, cool. Appreciate it.
So, you know, obviously like that's the, you're of course. The tough part is with newer businesses is they don't have that LTV number, right? And so that's even more where I think approaching the paid traffic with an offer that is an acquisition offer that has the chance of profitability before we ever even really have to look at LTV, you know, unless, you know, client was like, oh, I ran a company like Truly Free before, I know how this works. Let's just hit it straight like this from the beginning. You know, they like kind of understand the numbers behind that business model. Whereas like if I'm launching an online business for the first time, I'm just worried about like cash in, cash out. So, great, very like nuanced question there. Anybody else have anything like that that they want to touch on or thoughts on?
It's an interesting way of doing sales, like, and even talking to prospective leads, that you're approaching it with a lot of caution, almost timidly. You know, a lot of traditional sales training, like, you know, you want to build rapport and find some commonalities and be friendly, like, and that works. But I've won accounts and clients where I'm like, not necessarily being friendly, but I'm just like, listen, I looked at your stuff and I don't think it makes sense. Like, you don't have this set up properly. You know, you don't, like, I have like a local subscription, like a farmer's market, almost like a CSA type thing. It was, I don't know, pretty good, like kind of weekly, almost like a subscription box, but like a weekly one instead of monthly. And they had been in business like 3 years. And I was like, what's your, lifetime value? Or like, what's the average amount of months or times that people reorder? Like, I don't know. I'm thinking like, how do you not know that at this point? Like, you probably got the data. And so instead of my way of building rapport was being very cautious and kind of saying like, hey, I don't think this is going to work. And they ended up telling me that straight up of like, we went with you because
you were honest.
You were honest, and you showed that you really understood the numbers instead of just taking it. Because I mean, Will, when you said it earlier, like I've been there too earlier on, where I was like, let's take it on, let's see what happens.
Yeah.
But when you and the other thing you said too is like, hey, here's the numbers. What do you think of that? And like, do you want to bet it on an anomaly as opposed to like something that's more realistic? And people appreciate that, because if they don't go with you and they go with the agency or freelancer, like, oh yeah, 5x, 10x ROAS, sure, no problem. Well, they're going to get burned, and then they're going to be like, damn, that Paul guy or that Will or whoever was a straight shooter. I like that. So
yeah, for sure.
It's a cool way. It really like changed my way, especially doing sales, of like the audit is the signal in a lot of way. And with what you covered here last week too, is like, you don't need to do too much else other than that.
Yeah, for sure. Well, and I think to piggyback on what you were saying, to me, the biggest red flag is when a business doesn't know their core numbers, the core KPIs that they should know, right? So like, not to pick on Paul per se, but like that's a good case study or example of like, you are a subscription business and you don't know your LTV and you've been doing this for 3 years and you expect me to be the hero. Yeah, no way. Yeah. So yeah, great thoughts. What's that?
Well, I don't want to pull this over, but we had that interaction too, where I was like, why isn't this high ticket funnel profitable? Like our costs are low, whatever. And you're like, dude, your close rates aren't even like in the atmosphere where you need to be.
Yeah.
Like, oh shit.
That's true. Yeah. This one time, like it was probably like 3 or 4 months ago, Ben and I were sort of auditing the entire funnel. Front end was great, right? Like ads were good. We were really getting CPL dialed in. Ad process was starting to get really in there. And like close rates were like 10%. So I was like, yo, Ben, if we can double or triple this, like we're going to crush it. Right. So then, for a short while there, things actually took a pretty good turn up in the right direction. And yeah, that matters a lot, right? Like it matters a lot to know that. David, I think you had something okay. See you, Aaron. Thanks, brother. Yeah, 100%, like totally in agreement with you. Yeah, if anybody else has anything, happy to stick around for another minute or so. If not, like, appreciate you all as always. Appreciate you guys being here. Yeah, nice. Good stuff. Awesome, guys. As always, I'll share the recording with you once it saves. And if you have any follow-up questions, feel free to throw those in Slack. One thing that I'm going to try to do moving forward that I'm not really good at is I'm going to put 5 key takeaways from our sessions directly in Slack with the recording link so that we have like key bullet points, things like that for you guys to remember that you can come back to without even having to watch the video. So yeah, appreciate you guys. I'll catch you here on Slack and as well next Wednesday.
Thanks, bud.
See ya.
See you guys.
Thanks, y'all.
Later.